Good morning from the campus of the United States Sports Academy in Daphne, Alabama. This is Sports Talk. I'm Dr. Arthur Ogden, the Chair of Sports Management, and I serve as the moderator for Sports Talk, which comes to you every Wednesday morning at this time from the United States Sports Academy. And what we do is talk with the faculty here and staff who have expertise in certain areas that we discuss, and we share them with you, the public. We also want to thank you for your continued support by sending in suggestions of topics we can cover. This particular topic we have did come as a result of someone requesting it by sending an email to sportstalk@ussa.edu. This morning, our faculty member is Dr. Tim Foley, who's the Dean of Student Services. And Dr. Foley was a baseball player at Kansas State University, so he knows a little bit about big-time baseball, and he has coached baseball as well. This morning we're going to talk about the Tommy John surgery. You've been hearing an awful lot about that recently. And by way of background, Tommy John was a pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers who underwent an experimental type surgery back in 1974. It's called the UCL surgery, or the ulnar collateral ligament, and it was performed by Dr. Frank Jobe. Dr. Jobe, by the way, was the 2001 recipient of the Ernst Jochel Sports Medicine Award through the United States Sports Academy's Medallion Series of its Awards of Sport program. So we're quite proud of Dr. Jobe, and we have a link there. The procedure takes a ligament from another part of the body and uses it to connect a bone in the upper arm, which is the humerus, to a bone in the forearm, the ulna. Now, the causes are repetitive stress industry, and the repetitive stress of the twisting motion for a pitcher to throw the ball and get a slider or a curved ball is what precipitates this. Now, there are other sports and other events that also have these kinds of stress movements and cause the constant elbow movement. These include javelin, tennis, it used to be called tennis elbow, gymnastics, soccer, softball, and cheerleading. This surgery, Tommy John surgery, we've heard a lot about it in the news recently, has proven to be very, very, very successful. It has a recovery rate of 90 to 95% in the Major League Baseball players, and they've literally saved careers. They saved Tommy John's career. This year has been a banner year. There's been a plethora of the Tommy John surgeries. 18 pitchers have taken this surgery. Jose Fernandez of the Miami Marlins, Matt Moore of Tampa Bay's, Arizona's Patrick Corbin, Oakland's Jared Parker, Atlanta's Brandon Beachy and Chris Medlin, San Diego's Josh Johnson, and Ivan Nova of the Yankees. This is the second such surgery for Parker, Beachy, Medlin, and Johnson. This has proven to be a highly successful procedure. The issue, however, arises when we have young and blossoming baseball players who get this type of surgery. Dr. James Andrews, a leading orthopedic surgeon and founder of the Andrews Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center in Birmingham, who was also a recipient of the Academy's Ernst Jochel Sports Medicine Award. Dr. Andrews received it in 1994. He's noticed a dramatic increase in the number of Tommy John surgeries among youth. And alone in 2010, he reported 31% of his Tommy John surgeries were on youth or high schoolers. Now, the problem of overuse, long seasons, and the pressure to either get drafted out of high school by a Major League Baseball team or get a college scholarship are all contributing factors. This morning we're going to focus on the Tommy John surgery and its impact on youth baseball players. Tim, you played baseball at the highest collegiate career. Did you ever encounter any teammates who had the Tommy John surgery?
I actually did. I remember two right off the top of my head. One was a position player, left fielder. So position players do can have the surgery and will, obviously not as much as pitchers. And the other one was a pitcher. But again, what it does is it allows people to continue their career. And without the surgery, that would not happen.
Yeah, I know that having that kind of an elbow, and it's also a tennis elbow. The same
Tennis,
thing. In fact, I had that surgery done back in 80, 88, something like that. And it made a world of difference. It really, really did. What was your teammates' recovery time?
Actually, the position player was back playing the next year. I do not remember the pitcher, but I believe it was going to take him a little longer, about 14 to 16 months to get back throwing. Obviously, I think the pitching prospect was pretty good. I think they were probably a little more careful in his recovery than in regards to maybe the position player who's got a little less stress because they've thrown less. So that was the recovery time for those two individuals.
Well, I know that you and I have talked about this offline. And, I've got 5 sons who've in all kinds of athletics, and I have 3 of my daughters are involved in athletics too. But you've got a young son and a young daughter. As they're coming along, review for us what you believe are the causes of this type of aggravation of the elbow in any sport.
Well, one of the things I notice, and it's interesting because when you talk about recruiting, you talk about the 3 big recruiting states, California, Texas, and Florida. And the one thing that's common with all of them, they have great weather.
Right.
Okay, so baseball can be played all year round. But what really scares me and other individuals involved with this is that some of these young children, 5, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12, they are playing baseball all year around. So, I mean, you got a regular spring, then you go into a summer, then they have a fall league. And a lot of these individuals, they're pitching in one game, and then they go to another game, and they're playing the outfield, they're playing the infield position. But with that much use, that much volume on a 7, 8, 9-year-old, they can't sustain that. And I'm actually shocked at that percentage from James Andrews that the 33, 32% are of those young. That's definitely problematic. One thing, we all want our sons and daughters to get scholarships and play professional sports, but I did not realize this until I moved. Being from Southern California, I recognized it until I moved into another state where the athletes did play all year round, different sports all year round. So football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and then baseball in the spring. So we have to be very careful in regards to overuse. I mean, these are young bodies. I mean, they haven't even hit puberty, and now they need an arm surgery. Overuse is a huge problem. Another thing with pitchers is when do you start throwing curveballs and sliders? And I think you don't want to start the twisting motion or anything with the wrist until they're probably early high school, where you start teaching them and you develop them. But the overuse is definitely a problem at a young age.
And by alternating sports, they don't get that same repetitive stress.
Correct.
Injury. If they're playing basketball or if they're wrestling, after football or running track and field. I think that's important, and parents need to be aware of this. Well, what do you think is a motivating factor for youngsters who purportedly need the Tommy John surgery?
Probably is to continue a career. If it gets to that point, obviously you mentioned tennis elbow, and there's nothing as painful as tennis.
Amen to that.
There's nothing more painful, but obviously the need for it is to continue playing. If it's that point where they still want to play and they need the surgery to do that, they're going to have the surgery. But I mean, this should be at that young of age. There should be no Tommy Johns.
What role do the parents play in this? What role do the youth coaches play in this? In taking care of them. I mean, I know they want to cultivate talent, but
you know, we did see the Little League organization make some rules and regulations. Right now, during this time, we're all aware of what youth football is doing and all of football in limiting tackling during practice because of the concussions. But it's the same aspect with the League Baseball. They have a limited number of pitches they can throw, and then after they throw that many, that there's a specific number of days of rest that they have to do. So you throw 80 pitches on Monday, you can't pitch again until maybe Friday or Saturday. But I think as parents, rest, and especially young kids, rest is so important. We want to stay away from overusage, meaning, hey, you play baseball, then maybe in the fall you go to football or soccer, you go to basketball, wrestling, you know, alternate these sports up so that they're using the different muscles, the different areas of their body, and not just this. If you do this, you know, throughout the year at a young age, you're going to have a problem, and it's showing with that high percentage of surgeries.
I was listening to a program. I don't know if it was Mike and Mike in the Morning or not. They were talking about this, and there was one coach, and they had the debate about this coach went ahead and let this young pitcher pitch. He pitched 296 pitches in the game, in one game. And the debate was, this could have been his last hurrah for baseball because he wasn't talented enough to get a scholarship anywhere. How do we balance the moral responsibility there?
I hope his arm is still on.
Yeah.
But I mean, to let someone throw that many pitches is not good. I don't care if he never plays again.
He may well never play.
He may not. You know, again, he may have a problem writing the next day. I mean, it's, you know, again, we've got overall. You know, that's if the majority of individuals are not going to advance to the college level, but hey, their overall health we still want to take into consideration.
Well, what kind of caveats can you, as a coach and former big-time player, share with parents? Because I'm hoping that parents will pay attention to this, because youth sports seems to be today more for parents than it does for the young athletes, and I know because I've got young athletes. But my policy has always been, they've got to come beg me to play. I'm not going to force them out there. They've got to beg me to play. And Papa, can I play? Papa? And by the third time they ask, I think they'll be convinced. But what should we tell these parents?
One of the things is, hey, if the athlete is going to be good, they're going to be good.
Right.
We don't want to push. I think what you mentioned is, hey, I'm not going to put him out there. He's going to want to come to me and want to play. But, you know, mechanics are so important. Instead of focusing on so much, focus on the proper mechanics and, you know, let them have fun, but under no circumstances, you know, let them throw one day a week and then, hey, give them some rest. Come back the next week. You know, we don't want them playing in the game, pitching in the game, coming back that later afternoon and playing outfield, throwing from the outfield, and doing that multiple times per week. Just overuse. The youth body cannot sustain that much throwing. But, you know, don't push them. Let them play multiple sports if they want to play multiple sports, so you get that good cycle of using different parts of the body.
Is there a proper technique that can be taught to young pitchers that will avoid this kind of necessary surgery?
I think there's some absolutes. I think I've read a lot of Tom House books, The Pitching Guru. I think there's some absolutes that pitchers at a young age can do, where you're talking about balance and you're talking about different types of percentages of where the body should be in regards to throwing a baseball. I think the focus on the mechanics, you know, you can practice the mechanics and throw a tennis ball, which is a lot less stress, which is a great idea. Mm-hmm. But focus on the mechanics, and again, the one thing you want to watch is you want to make sure that they're not throwing too much.
Well, as we get into the baseball season for the spring and the summer, you do realize, audience out there, that baseball players at the collegiate level also have two seasons. They have a fall season and they have a spring season. And they play a lot of ball games throughout the entire year. That's a college athlete. So we would ask you parents who are watching, please take care of your young athletes. Give them every opportunity. Don't push them into it. Make them come to you. Make them want to do it, because the price they pay is not the price you pay. Thanks so much for tuning in to the United States Sports Academy Sports Talk. We're delighted to have the audience we have. We later post this to YouTube, so you can go tune it in there. But for Dr. Tim Foley and myself, Dr. Arthur Ogden, and for the United States Sports Academy, thank you, and have a good day in sport.